get your fix. Are you ready? Are you ready to get your fix? Are you ready? Are you ready to get your fix? Are you ready? Are you ready to get your fix? Are you ready? Are you ready to get your fix? Are you ready? Are you ready to get your fix? Are you ready to get your fix?
With the Wicks here on this, well, once was a gloomy Wednesday, now a very fucking dark Wednesday, thanks to Daylight Savings Time, November 10th, 2021, and welcome to the show. Now, thank you guys for tuning in, and if you haven't yet, if you're on Facebook or YouTube, especially if you're on YouTube, go hit that subscribe button. It'd be much, much appreciated. But anyways, yesterday was quite the show, okay, where we had to, sort of dive in to the whole situation surrounding the Las Vegas Raiders, obviously losing John Gruden earlier in the season, and then losing Henry Ruggs, and then now losing Damon Arnett. And then I also said how I believe moving a team from Oakland to Las Vegas might go down as one of the worst relocations in NFL history. Now, but we also got to dive into a little bit of the OBJ situation and him, getting released earlier in the week. I believe it was like Monday, if I'm not mistaken. He cleared waivers yesterday, in which we're going to dive into that situation a little bit deeper today, because there are now preferred destinations there for OBJ around the NFL. So we'll dive into that a little bit. However, I think we figured out why, no one who needed a running back didn't sign future Hall of Famer Frank Gore. And that's because Mr. Gore is set to square off against former NBA guard Darren Williams in the prelims for the Jake Paul fight, which is taking place in December. He's fighting Tyson Fury's nephew or something like that. They're both pretty evenly matched. It'll be a good fight, but Frank fucking Gore's getting in the ring, getting that boxing ring, gonna go and slug a few out with Darren Williams. Should be a good fight. Not sure if there's any beef between them. Have no idea on that front, but should be a pretty good one. I can express how excited I am to go ahead and watch that one. See how Frank Gore's moving. See if he's actually still got that athleticism still in his grasp. But hey, from the videos I've seen, he's kind of, a little rusty. It looks like he's obviously not meant for basketball. He's staying in that football shape just in case he gets one of those calls. Hey, we need you. Can you possibly sign with the team? We need a running back at this point in time. So, it's gonna happen where he's not gonna be in boxing shape, probably not boxing, ready in his form and stuff like that. Darren Williams might have a little bit of an edge on that part, where he has actually been out of the NBA now, I believe, for a couple of years here and there. So that is going to be a fun fight. Also, 1 week from today, Hard Knocks returns to HBO, where they are going to be, or where they have been following the Indianapolis Colts this entire season, are going to give us a little, inside look at the everyday operations that take place within an organization, and I also cannot wait for that. That's going to be a big one. I know Tom Brady also has a documentary coming out. I believe that is November 12th, so that would be, this Friday, I think it is. I'm not 100% sure. It's just off the top of my mind. That's what I think it was, November 12th. If you want to go check that out and check the date for me, go for it. I don't care. But I will be watching that as soon as I see that it is out. So with that being said, I think I've rambled on enough. Let's get to the world of football. Are you ready to get your fix? Well, we talked about this OBJ situation briefly yesterday, where he, obviously was excused from practice last week, and they weren't really sure what was going to happen moving forward. Then he gets released by the Cleveland Browns, has to go through the waiver wire, where any team has the chance to go out and sign him. The worst record teams actually get the first dibs on him. So if the Lions say, hey, I want OBJ, they would have been able to pick him up before, say, the Vikings, say before, I guess the Rams and stuff like that, because they are the worst record team in the NFL. Well, He cleared waivers, which was yesterday. He had to clear them by 3 p.m. or 3:05 p.m. Central Time, 4:05 Eastern Standard Time. He cleared waivers, which means that made him a free agent for the first time in his career. Well, it has been said that there are 3 preferred destinations or a destination for OBJ. Now, I'm not 100% sure if this is completely true or not. I mean, it could all be just blowing smoke here and there because there's been reports saying, oh, this destination is the number 1 landing spot, supposedly. Oh, wait, no, this one is supposed to be the number 1 landing spot. It's like, okay, well, which one is it? You can't believe anything unless it comes out of OBJ's mouth himself. But the 3 preferred destinations just happen to be the Kansas City Chiefs, the New Orleans Saints, and the Green Bay Packers. So of these 3 teams, the Kansas City Chiefs, I don't really see them making a move, but at the same time, you got to expect them to do something because, I mean, it is the Kansas City Chiefs. They have $2.4 million available, or roughly about $2.4 million available, and with signing OBJ, any team around the NFL, okay, it's basically a half-year deal, so the rest of the season, the next season, or I guess in the off-season is where he's really going to figure out what team is his best fit. Maybe he hits the free agent market again, or he just continues to sign an extension with the team that possibly will sign him. But the Kansas City Chiefs, I mean, they just went out, they just got Josh Gordon, and they have Tyreek Hill still. They have Travis Kelce, McCole Hardman. So they got pieces and weapons at the wide receiver position. It doesn't really make sense that, the Chiefs would go out and get him. They need defensive help very, very big. And if they do sign OBJ, it's like, are they trying to cover up, how bad their defense is playing to bring in OBJ to boost that offense a little bit more so that, if they play the Denver Broncos, let's say the Broncos put up 24 points on them and it's 24-14 at one point in the game, maybe, going into the fourth quarter, then all of a sudden, bam, Chiefs get rolling, win the game 28-24, something like that, or 28-27, you know what I'm saying? It kind of hides that a little bit for OBJ or for the Kansas City Chiefs, but I just don't see this happening, especially because they aren't using Josh Gordon in the pass game at all, at least since they've signed him. So it's like you go get OBJ, okay? You're still probably not going to use him because you got Josh Gordon, you got fucking McCole Hardman, you got Tyreek Hill, you got Travis Kelce, you got your backfield. Like, what are you going to do? And also, Patrick Mahomes has fucking double-digit touch or interception. He also does have 20 touchdown passes this year, which is unbelievable to say the least. I had no idea that was the case until I went and looked earlier today, and good for him. But I just don't see the Chiefs being that destination for him. But the New Orleans Saints is kind of an interesting situation because Odell Beckham is from New Orleans, okay? He played at LSU in college, played high school football there in New Orleans and stuff, or not probably, I guess not New Orleans, in Louisiana. You get what I'm trying to say here. But somebody came out and said, look, the Saints are the number 1 preferred destination for Odell Beckham. And that would make sense being that that's where he's from. That's his hometown. That's where, OBJ was created, basically. But they also said that it is their preferred number 1 destination depending on the quarterback situation and depending on how much the Saints can afford to pay him. Well, they only have about $1.5 million available to spend. So right then and there, that's a red flag. Okay, they don't have any money to sign Odell unless he signs like a Cam Newton deal where it's like $1 million. And you can earn some incentives here and there if like you go to the playoffs or if you catch so many balls and do so many things. And I just don't see Odell doing that. He could possibly, being that it is a half a year left, and then after this season he can get that extension, make more money, and go from there. But it's just like, dude, he's one of those receivers where he's kind of lost his touch, if you will, from when he was with the Giants way back when Eli Manning was a quarterback, and he's kind of decreased in production lately. Going with the Cleveland Browns hasn't looked hasn't looked good at all. Lots of drop passes, even though he's wide open, trying to make those OBJ one-handed catch so that his name is relevant again. I don't think that's going to be possible unless he has an absolute outstanding season, like a whole season where he's the number 1 guy, where he's making the plays, where he is the difference maker in any offense. And I just don't think that's the case anymore. And maybe going forward it could be, but at this point in time, it's not that case. And then going to that quarterback situation, they just lost Jameis Winston for the whole season. Okay, torn ACL, he's done. That's it. Well, they got Trevor Siemian. Okay, not a starting quarterback in the NFL, obviously. He can go out there and he can sling it around here and there, but you're going to have less of a chance of winning any ball game with him at quarterback. And the same goes, I guess we haven't really got to see this, but Taysom Hill. He is officially been activated. He's going to be, I think they're rolling with Trevor Siemian, but Taysom Hill could take some snaps here and there. And if Taysom takes over the quarterback role, it's like, is he capable of doing this in an NFL game, a whole NFL game, the rest of the season? Is he capable of going out there and being in quarterback number one? I mean, I'm not really sure. It's like a rookie. You throw him out there to the Wolves, you're like, well, fuck, let's see what we got going on here, because he could A, fucking just be stellar, or B, he could just shit the bed, and you know for a fact that, hey, he's just going to be your tight end, he's going to be your wide receiver, he's going to be that, that threat that's capable of doing anything and everything on the field. He could play quarterback 1-2 plays a game, something like that. But if he does blow up, hey, that's even greater. Okay, that's even better for the Saints, but I don't think with the quarterback situation, with Jameis Winston being out and how much money they actually have in $1.5 million, it's like I just don't see the New Orleans Saints really making a push for Odell. They might make a little push here and there. And ultimately, at the end of the day, it is Odell's decision where he wants to, end up for the rest of the season. And he does say, or he has said, I don't know if this is 100% true, but you'd have to expect it to be true, where he wants to go to a team that is playoff ready, who is going to be a Super Bowl contender. That's where he wants to go. And I mean, granted, with his resume, you add a Super Bowl ring on that just makes his resume even that much greater and stuff and like that. But the Saints would be an interesting one. They did lose Michael Thomas for the rest of the season, so they kind of need a wide receiver over there. They have Marquise Callaway and other receivers like that. But if they had a number one guy, a big name guy, is he going to be capable? I mean, he just came from Baker Mayfield. Okay, not that bad of a quarterback in my opinion. Okay, not the greatest by any means, but I think Baker's a lot better than Trevor Siemian. I think Baker's a lot better at this point than Taysom Hill, because we haven't really got to see Taysom Hill take a full game in the NFL behind the center. So it'll be interesting how that ends up. I just don't see the Saints really making too much sense, other than they need a wide receiver, basically. But the one team, okay, Diana Rossini actually went out and tweeted and said the actual preferred number one destination, and this one makes a whole bunch of sense, would be the Green Bay Packers. Now, the Green Bay Packers have about $6.2 million available. Okay, that's a big chunk of money that they could end up giving to Odell. They could get him $4 or $5 million on top of the $4 million that he gets as a parting gift from Cleveland. How you doing? Keep it moving. He's going to make some, a nice chunk of change there for Green Bay. But Green Bay is a serious contender. Their defense has been playing pretty solid for the most part. I think, 2 years ago, you look at it, they couldn't stop the run to save their lives. Okay, we've seen that in the NFC Championship game against the San Francisco 49ers. And then last year, they kind of picked it up a little bit, where they were able to, stop the pass game for the most part. And then they sort of started to figure out how to stop or slow down that run game, give or take a few yards here and there. But this year, they're looking really, really solid. I mean, they're sitting at 7-2 this season. They beat the undefeated Arizona Cardinals, set them to 7-1, who are now 8-1. Green Bay is a big, big team, and they need Aaron Rodgers in a big way. We've seen that with Jordan Love playing this week. Didn't look all that good. Didn't look like a starting caliber quarterback for an NFL organization, where Aaron Rodgers obviously does. He went out there and beat the undefeated Arizona Cardinals with no wide receivers besides Randall Cobb out there, and I guess Robert Tonyan. But I think the Packers would be a huge destination for Odell, because, back-to-back NFC Championship games, I think these guys are ready to go back to a Super Bowl. I know Aaron Rodgers is ready to go back to another Super Bowl, depending on his whole, COVID situation, which obviously sucks, but hey, good for him for, standing up for what he believes in and doing his own thing. All right, that's kind of what I got to say about that. But also, not only Diana Rossini said this was his preferred number one destination, I think this would be in my opinion, his preferred number one destination, just based off, they have the money to pay him at this point in time. It is only going to be for the rest of the season. And then after that, you can figure it out from there, especially if Aaron Rodgers ends up leaving, especially if Devontae Adams ends up leaving. What happens if OBJ wants to stay? And then you can pay him his money there, and he can go figure his whole situation out after that. But those are his three preferred destinations: the Kansas City Chiefs, New Orleans Saints, and the Green Bay Packers. But there's some other destination that kind of were stewing around in my brain, the New England Patriots being a big one. Yeah, they have a lot of weapons. I'm not 100% sure. I forgot to go check their cap space. But they'd be a big one. Mac Jones is looking pretty solid there for the most part. They're sitting at 5-4, have a chance to go and win that division. The Buffalo Bills have kind of, decreased in production, have started to suck a little bit. I think they're sitting at 5-3, or where New England is 5-4 this year. So that would be a big destination. You look at the Ravens as one, the Steelers, the Seahawks, even maybe Washington. The Washington football team could use him as well. I wouldn't necessarily think he'd go there. Obviously, they're not a Super Bowl ready team. They're not a playoff ready team. They were last year somehow because that was the worst fucking division in all of football. And it's just how the cookie crumbles. But I think you can really look at maybe the Ravens, or I guess the ones that I listed: Ravens, Seahawks, Steelers, and Patriots. Those are ones that are going to really surprise people. Like, wait, thought he said Saints, Chiefs, Packers. Like, why did he go to New England? Well, because they have a chance. They have a chance to win the division. They have a chance to make the playoffs. And, it's a chance to go be with one of the greatest coach in NFL history in Bill Belichick. And, there was this whole segment where I believe Odell sat down with Victor Cruz, and I can't remember the other guy, where he was talking about Bill Belichick and what Bill Belichick is actually like, and how he said he's a dope-ass person. I think he's misunderstood and stuff like that. So the Patriots would make sense, depending on, obviously their money issues. I think they have not too much left. I think they're right around, couple mil, not much more than that. But that would be a big one. But OBJ has come out and said these, or I guess he hasn't come out. People have said these are his three preferred, destinations: the Chiefs, the Packers, and the Saints. So now let's branch off from OBJ. Let's talk about the Minnesota Vikings. Okay, there's been some news floating around, not only today, but last night for sure. There was a bunch of news coming out. I was surprised. I know probably a lot of you guys were also surprised. But we'll start right off with Dalvin fucking Cook. Might be in trouble. Okay, might. That's a big might. Who knows? There's, there's two sides of this story, but there's also three sides, because there's his, hers, and the truth. But it has came out, I guess, that Dalvin Cook's ex-girlfriend, U.S. Army Sergeant First Class Gracelyn Trimble, is suing Vikings running back, saying he physically abused her and held her hostage in his home last year. Cook's lawyer says she broke in, assaulted Cook and two guests, and is extorting him. Well, I'm really not sure how else we can say this, but it might be bullshit, obviously. There was also a bigger statement. I believe this was from, I'm not really sure who it's from, to be honest, but this says, while Mr. Cook and Sergeant Trimble had a short-term relationship over several months, she became emotionally abusive, physically aggressive, and confrontational, and repeatedly attempted to provoke Mr. Cook. Sergeant Trimble damaged his vehicle on at least 2 occasions, assaulted him, attempted to stop him from seeing other women. Okay, well, that's his problem. He is an NFL superstar. He's around. It's going to happen unless he's married, obviously, unless he trusts you 100%. But the state of Minnesota applies the Castle Doctrine as it pertains to self-defense, which means when an intruder enters your home, you have the right to defend yourself and your family or guest. This right to self-defense includes the use of deadly force based on the nature of the perceived threat. Almost a year ago, on the evening of November 19th, Sergeant Trimble unlawfully and without consent or knowledge of Mr. Cook entered his residence and gained entry into his house with a stolen garage door opener. Upon entry into the residence, she immediately, without provocation or whatever, physically assaulted Mr. Cook, punched him repeatedly, and maced Mr. Cook directly in the eyes, and then maced his 2 house guests. And basically, he was trying to fix his fucking eyes from burning out, and he was in pretty big pain, or a lot of pain at that point. He said, or she sprayed him a second round of mace in his face, and then proceeded to arm herself with a firearm. And she forced Mr. Cook and his guests at gunpoint to remain in the residence for the next several hours. During this hostage situation, she tried to again assault a female guest of Mr. Cook, and when Mr. Cook tried to stop the attack, she was knocked to the ground and suffered a small cut above her nose. These facts are confirmed by at least 2 independent witnesses. And then obviously, I'm not going to read this. This is just fucking, this might be fabricated, obviously, but there was a message between her and him and how, she's like, well, you assaulted me. He's like, oh, I didn't do that. I'm so sorry for doing it. Like, bitch, come on. Like, that's one thing that grinds my gears. I mean, I hope this is the same situation with Deshaun Watson where all these women are trying to, get his fucking money, basically. I'm not 100% sure on that Deshaun Watson case, and if he is convicted guilty, fuck him. He's a scumbag, basically, is what I would say. But, like, what is the point of this? And Mr. Cook, or Dalvin Cook, I should say, came out and said, don't worry, the truth will come out sooner or later, and I'm the one telling the truth. And I have to believe him, being a Minnesota Vikings fan, being, I guess, myself in general. It's just like, I don't think he would do something like this at all to jeopardize his career, to jeopardize the Minnesota Vikings organization, the fan base, and the rest of his family's future. I just don't think that's possible. And also, Sergeant First fucking class in the U.S. Army. I get that Dalvin's a fucking professional athlete, but she's been trained to do things that would hurt a human being, basically, okay? Like, she's physically and mentally prepared to do whatever she wants, however she wants it. And basically, the moral of the story is that I guarantee she broke into his house, beat the shit out of him, maced him so that he was incapable of doing anything, okay? Incapable of protecting himself until, finally he's like, bitch, get out of the way, pushed her, get out of my house, stuff like that. And it's a bad situation to be in the first place. Nobody wants to be in that situation. And if it is true, I mean, what the hell, Dalvin? But at the same time, I don't think it is true. I think Dalvin is completely telling the full and honest truth. Maybe give or take some things, but it's a sticky situation because, we just got done talking about Henry Ruggs being a complete idiot, okay, just making the dumb choice or making stupid choices, and then Damon Arnett going around throwing guns around the internet, threatening people, going right back to where he came from, basically, and he tried to get out of that. He was out of that and said, fuck it, let's go back. I want to be a gangbanger and do all this shit. Like, dude, what are you doing? Like, but that hopefully is not the situation with Dalvin, all right? I think Dalvin, for the most part, at least in my opinion, is probably a good guy, probably a good person. And until this is, all sorted out and the truth finally does come out, I'm going to believe Dalvin. I'm going to be on Dalvin's side because it doesn't make sense, especially at this point in the season. Like, oh shit, everyone else is kind of getting in trouble. Maybe I should just spill a can of beans here. Maybe I should just try to do something. Maybe she was just jealous, obviously. But that's kind of the whole situation on Dalvin. There's going to be an investigation. He is still going to be able to play. There hasn't been any discussions with the NFL on putting him on the exempt list and all this bullshit. But Dalvin Cook, at this point in time, is just fine. He's okay. It's just this dumb story had to come out where he apparently held her hostage, and really that probably wasn't the case. Also, on some Minnesota Vikings news front, today they just had a player, Dakota Dozier, get hospitalized for COVID-19. He had COVID-19, went home, was trying to rest and stuff like that, had a very tough time breathing, ended up going to the hospital. He is still in the hospital. He's doing okay from what I've heard, but he is also fucking vaccinated. I'm going to leave that there, okay? There's a reason behind that, I guess, but he's vaccinated. He can't fucking breathe, and he's in the hospital. Some vaccination, huh? I wonder which one he got. But hey, cancel culture. If you want to cancel me, go for it. I don't fucking care. But he is, from what I heard, doing okay. He had a hard time breathing, but I guess Mike Zimmer came out and said him and 29 other players are getting tested as we speak. Basically, probably earlier today they got tested and waiting for results to see, because they were basically close contacts with Dakota Dozier. And I just kind of wish the best for him. I know COVID has taken a lot of lives. I know it's done all of this and stuff. I mean, I even had it on my 23rd birthday. It is what it is. I got through it. I'm fine. Not vaxxed. Don't care. We'll see if it happens in the future. Who knows? I'll make that decision by myself with the knowledge that I have gained anyways and my beliefs. But T's and P's also to Dakota Dozier and his family as he continues to recover from COVID-19, and hopefully this doesn't go down a negative path or a bad path for him. But the Minnesota Vikings all of a sudden got in the news in sort of a rough, sad kind of way. Hopefully Dalvin's going to be fine. Hopefully Dakota Dozier's going to be fine. And hopefully the rest of the season for the Minnesota Vikings is going to be fine, even though, I mean, we're dreaming of a championship over here. We might not even make the playoffs. It's been back-to-back years. So that's kind of my take on that. But now let's transition over to the Cleveland Browns. So they release Odell Beckham Jr. Okay, he got fucking, excused from practice. His dad wanted to make all those videos. Well, in the last 2 days, yesterday and today, they have made two huge signings. And basically that's their offensive line. So yesterday they had right guard Wyatt Teller sign a 4-year, $56.8 million extension, keeping him with the Browns for obviously 4 more years. And then today, left guard Joel Bitonio, 3 years, $48 million extension. Okay, so on top of that, the other offensive lineman that the Cleveland Browns have, left tackle Jedrick Wills, he was a 2020 10th round draft pick, still on his rookie deal, will have a chance to get that extension. Who knows, it could be at the next couple days, maybe a week or so or something like that, or maybe next year we can see an extension. He's going to end up probably staying there. He's making, he'll make a big chunk of money. Their center, J.C. Treader, has a 3-year, $32.5 million deal. Their right tackle, Jack Conklin, has a 3-year, $42 million deal. These guys are set up for a couple years, okay, for at least 4 years. Now, I think we can all agree that finding an offensive line that has the chemistry over years, okay, that has played together for not only 1 year or 1 season, 2 seasons, 3 seasons, but multiple seasons is very, very hard to find. And when you find that, you got to keep that. Like, there's no ifs, ands, or buts about it, because offensive lines always seem to be the front of the talk where, hey, this team sucks. Oh, well, the quarterback's not getting any protection. The running back can't fucking get a hole and stuff like that. It all goes right back to the offensive line. Are they capable of holding the defensive line from getting to the quarterback / running back and all that stuff? Well, the Cleveland Browns have one of the youngest offensive lines and probably one of the better offensive lines in the NFL, and they're locking them up. And that's huge. That's big, big news, not only for the Cleveland Browns as an organization and their fans, but also Nick Chubb, Kareem Hunt, Baker fucking Mayfield being protected by guys they are very, very familiar with, and guys that have been in that organization for at least 1 to 2 years and have known each other for 1 to 2 years and have built those bonds, have built that chemistry, and are playing some solid football. Right now, I believe they're sitting at 5-4, and they are third in their division. Now, the Bengals, they went from first to last real fucking quick, but look, the Browns, obviously being third in the division, they got the Ravens at 6-2 at number 1, the Steelers number 2 at 5-3. Shout out to George. His Steelers are doing pretty good for now. I bumped them up in my power rankings, which will be released tomorrow morning. 100%. I have them all done. I have them all finished. I'm just not going to release them tonight. I feel like it's too late. Nobody really get to fucking see them. And then when you wake up, it's going to be pushed even further back. So it's like, I'll give it to you tomorrow morning when everyone can fucking see it right when they wake up, basically. But then after the Steelers, you got the Browns at 5-4, and the Bengals tied with the Browns at 5-4. But the Bengals are at last because I believe the Browns ended up beating them. So, look, the Browns are making moves, and they're looking to stay around. They're looking not to go back to what they once were in that shitty team, that jersey with the list of fucking quarterbacks that goes all the way down to your ass and beyond, basically. They are starting to turn that corner of, hey, we're a good fucking football team. All right, let's keep it together. Let's sign these guys for the long term. We're in this for the long haul. We're in this for at least the next fucking 3 to 5 years, basically. We want to go to a Super Bowl. We want to go to a playoff. let's get her done. Let's get her done right now, and they're signing their offensive line, and that's a good place to start, especially since obviously Jarvis Landry's going to be there for quite some time. David Njoku's playing really good football. Austin Hooper's playing some, good football as well. But overall, I like the way the Browns are handling things going forward now, especially after getting rid of fucking Freddie Kitchens. That was an experiment gone wrong, basically. Okay, that was just, that was rough. I'm sorry, Logan, for that. But Browns are doing some good things. Good work over there for Cleveland. Now they just got to start fucking winning football games and start being consistent, and they'll be just fine. Okay, are they going to be better than the Steelers in the future? Well, who knows? Are they going to be better than the Ravens in the future? I mean, if Lamar Jackson's gone, maybe. But it's interesting. It's very interesting. That's why I love the NFL. That's why I love covering, because all these things happening. It's like, well, was that the right decision to make? Is that the right one? Why they do this? What's going on here and stuff? But good for the Cleveland Browns. Good for OBJ trying to get out or actually getting freed, finding his own place to go. And hopefully, like I said, Dalvin Cook's good. And Dakota Dozier, my T's and P's are with you. Hopefully you can continue to breathe better if you're not hardly breathing right now, basically, and having a hard time. But I'm sure you'll get through it. You got that money to figure it out. And, hey, that is going to do it for the show today. Like I said, we're going to release the power rankings tomorrow morning, so that'll be up and ready for you guys to go look at and like and do whatever you want. But like I said, if you are on Facebook or YouTube, especially YouTube, go hit that subscribe button. It'd be much, much appreciated. Gained one yesterday. Hell yeah, thank you for that. But like I said, go enjoy the rest of your evening. We will see you back here tomorrow to preview tomorrow's Thursday night matchup. All right, have a great one, and you just got your fix with the Wicks. Appreciate it. Peace out.